Greetings, detectives. This is Michael with the Murder Mystery Company reading an audio summary for Totally 80's Totally Murder. A rock and roll, parachute pants wearing, flock of seagulls haircut sporting, neon colored murder mystery. This summary is going to go over the details for each character and other important information you need to know to perform this cringeworthy throwback show. So grab your aquanet, tie a bandana around your leg, and prepare to... Do I have to read it like this? Really? Get totally tubular with the script for sure. We didn't all talk like that, I swear. First up, the smoking gun clue. You know what this is, right? It's the one thing we must not ever, not even once mention to the public. It is the ultimate spoiler for the entire show. Keep it to yourself. The smoking gun clue for Totally 80's Totally Murder is that Johnny Diamond was not the real target. Poison was. Johnny's death was an accident, and we're looking for who wanted to kill Poison and Muffy. Now for the characters. Annie Fanny. Annie is a delightfully obnoxious 8-year-old girl. She knows all about music and electronics and is a huge fan of rock music. She's here all alone, no parents. That means she's going to have all the fun that she wants. Important clues. Annie really knows about electronics and can play almost any musical instrument. Her favorite is the theremin. She could see that something was off with the headphones that Johnny was wearing. He looked like he was electrocuted. Annie is pretty sure she knows how to rig headphones to electrocute someone. She even knows where the sound equipment would be kept for an event like this. In Act 3, when the detective asks for clues, she will insist that she totally knows everything about electronics, as she's a child genius. But she could never commit a murder since she's, 8 years old. In Act 3, when the detective asks for clues, she will insist that she totally knows everything about electronics, as she's a child genius. But she could never commit a murder since she's, 8 years old. Cindy Leap Year. Cindy is one of the best-known musicians out there, but not always for her music. She's a bit of a wild child and is dating rock legend Poison Rattenstein. Important clues. Cindy's father was a sound guy, and she learned all about systems from the inside out from him. She wants to settle down in domestic bliss with Poison. Johnny Diamond is Poison's agent and hers as well. Cindy knows that Poison is cheating on her with groupies, and it makes her furious. She still thinks they can work everything out. When the detective is looking for clues in Act 2, she'll make her feelings about Poison's #1 superfan and groupie Muffy known. She has no taste, and she needs to stay away from her man Poison. In Act 3, she has something a little more concrete to say. Pat Minotaur used to be a roadie, and she knows a lot about electronics. Pat also hated Johnny and is totally not a fan of Muffy. Dr. Joe King. Dr. Joe King is the perfect doctor. Good-looking with a high-end clientele and is known as one of the top surgeons in the country. He also happens to be a huge Poison Rattenstein fan. They have a lot in common. Rich, successful, and good-looking. Important clues. Dr. King has a bit of a gambling problem, and he's absolutely terrified of dead bodies. Johnny owed Dr. King a lot of money. Dr. King himself owns a lot of money in gambling debts to a dangerous bookie. That's why he was here, to get money that Johnny owed him to help pay the bookie. Dr. King is a Luddite. He knows nothing about electronics at all. The human body is complex enough. In Act 2, the doctor will be asked for a toxicology report on Johnny's body. He will let the detective know that there are no traces of any sort of poison or toxin in the body. Joan Jumbojet. Joan is the raddest kind of rock star. She's her own person and not in it for the fame. Unfortunately, by being her own person, everyone wants to be like her. If she wears something out in public the next day, everyone's wearing it. If she says something original, everyone is saying it from then on. It's hard to be unique when this keeps happening. Important clues. Joan has a few issues. The biggest is that she's a kleptomaniac. She's rich but can't help just taking things. She knows that Dr. King is a compulsive gambler and that he owes a lot of money around town. He was here to collect money from Johnny. Joan did not know Johnny at all. Cindy Leap Year and Trish Hughes both hate Joan, probably because they're jealous of her fame and fortune. In Act 3, when the detective is asking for clues, she will let everyone know that she checked the headphones herself and they were rigged in a way that could electrocute someone. That is what killed Johnny. Johnny Diamond. Johnny is the agent in town. He's in control of the hottest musicians in the world, including rock power couple Poison Rattenstein and Cindy Leap Year. This is his big day, the day of the super concert. So, of course, he's going to die. In Act 1, Johnny dies. When the detective says, "Poison, it's time to sing," he will stop everything to show Poison how it's done. He'll take a sip from his glass, mention how funny it tastes, put on the headphones Poison was going to wear, and then falls over dead. Leroy H. Oswald. Leroy wants to be one of the world's greatest assassins, and the only thing standing in his way is the fact that he is terrible at it. Failure after failure, jail time, and worse, all of it has boiled down to tonight. Claiming to be an importer-exporter, he is here to kill Johnny Diamond. Important clues. Leroy has rigged a bomb to kill Johnny right at the end of the meal. The man who hired Leroy does not know what he looks like or who he is. And the person who hired Leroy is Skull, who really, really wanted Johnny dead. Muffy. Muffy is the perfect fan and groupie for her one and only Poison Rattenstein. She knows absolutely everything about him, every single detail of his life. She worships the very ground he walks on. Important clues. Muffy is Poison's girl on the side, and has been for quite a while. She always had Poison's best interests at heart, and even convinced him not to let model Trish Hughes take a part in his next album. Muffy's a master electrician with a degree from MIT in electronics. When Johnny publicly introduces Poison in Act 1, she will run up and give Poison a huge, screaming fan hug. When the detective is discussing clues in Act 2, she will complain that she hated Johnny Diamond. He wanted Poison to rotate in a new groupie and was driving a wedge between her and Poison. In Act 3, when the detective comes out and says, "I have something to reveal," Muffy will stumble in from backstage with a knife in her chest, to die dramatically. She does not know who killed her. Pat Minotaur. Pat Minotaur is an aspiring musician. They dream of taking the big stage to crowds of adoring people. All they need is their big break. Important clues. Pat is here tonight with the hope that Johnny Diamond will let them open for Poison. That would be the big break that they need. Pat used to be a roadie for Pink Floyd and knows all about electronics, doing pyrotechnics and sound. Pat saw Johnny take a drink from the glass and mutter something about the taste. Johnny had once said he would never sign Pat Minotaur and the Lovables. Pat can't stand Muffy. She once called Pat a no-talent hack. When they are introduced to everyone publicly, they will ask everyone if they want to see them open for Poison Rattenstein, and then attempt to sing a song. At the end of Act 1, when Poison is attempting to search people, Pat will raise their hand and declare that it was Poison that killed Johnny, and that he made a face and said his drink tasted funny. Poison Rattenstein. Poison Rattenstein is the biggest rock star in the world. His agent is Johnny Diamond, and he's dating rock chick Cindy Leapyear. His biggest hit is the song Faithfully Faithful. Important clues. Despite the song Faithfully Faithful, that is not really who he is. He's been with a lot of groupies on the road, including his number one fan, Muffy. Poison thinks that Johnny was killed by something in his drink. He had relations with Muffy between Acts 2 and 3. He couldn't find Dr. Joe between Acts 2 and 3 when he was looking for some medicine to perk him back up. At the end of Act 2, he will find an excuse to leave briefly with Muffy. In Act 3, when the detective asks for clues, he will announce that the doctor snuck backstage at some point after Poison snogged Muffy. Skull. Skull is a scary-looking hard rock biker. He's as tough as they come and used to play for the band Skull and the Pretty Flowers in dive bars. Poison's music is not as hard rock as he usually goes for, but he stole the tickets, and this is the concert of the century. Important clues. Skull's band opened for Poison Rattenstein once. It was supposed to be their big break. Johnny Diamond had said that he loved the sound of Skull and the Pretty Flowers, and then stole the band's lead guitar. The Pretty Flowers fell apart after that. Skull is holding a grudge for Johnny. Skull hired a man to kill Johnny, but does not know who he is or what he looks like. Skull was expecting Johnny to be blown up, not whatever happened to him, but he's happy just the same. He is not sure that it was his hitman that killed Johnny. If the detective asks Skull who the hitman is, he will tell them who he thinks it is. Slick Douglas. Slick is a rich Wall Street tycoon. He wants to be where the action is at, so he is here tonight to see the concert of the century, Poison Rattenstein. Plus, he might be able to check out some supermodels. Arm candy is the best kind of candy. Important clues. Slick used to be Poison's guitar player, but Poison fired him because he was there for the money, not the music. Johnny used to be Slick's agent. He thinks that Poison might have had something to do with Johnny's death. Cindy Leapyear is a very jealous girlfriend and cannot stomach Poison sleeping around, but she never had any problems with Johnny. When the detective is looking for clues in Act 2, he'll offer up that Muffy is an electronics wizard and hates anybody getting close to her man Poison. She and Poison might have been working together to kill Johnny. In Act 3, when the clues are being discussed, he will accuse Dr. Joe King of being a compulsive gambler who owes a lot of money to his bookie. One person, however, owed him money, and that was Johnny. Trish Hughes. Trish Hughes is a supermodel from Sweden. She lives for attention, and even though it is not easy to look this beautiful, it is worth all the pain and suffering. Important clues. Trish cannot read or write. She's never had to. Trish has been seeing Johnny, hoping he will take her on as a client. Muffy got in the way of her being on Poison's next album. She hates Muffy for that. Dr. Joe King is a compulsive gambler and owed a lot of people money. Johnny, however, owed the doctor money. When someone attempts to search her in Act 1, she will respond with, as if, keep your hands to yourself and get out of my facial. When the detective asks for clues in Act 2, she will tell everyone that she has no idea if Johnny was a good kisser or not, and that she would never sleep with someone to jumpstart her singing career. In Act 3, when confronted for clues, she will let everyone know that Muffy ruined her chance at singing on Poison's album, and that she can totally read. There's no reason to prove it. And now for who did it. It was Cindy Leap Year. First of all, there was a major clue about this case that was needed to know before it could be solved. That clue was that Johnny was never supposed to die. Poison was the intended victim the entire time. Those were Poison's headphones that killed Johnny, and the killer could have never predicted that Poison would give them to Johnny first. Cindy's motive in this case is simple. Cindy was tired of Poison running around on her and making her look like a fool. She planned to kill Poison tonight so she would be free of his tainted love and allow her to be the big star on her own. However, when Johnny died instead of Poison, everything changed. Cindy started to think that if her plan didn't work, maybe she and Poison would have to make it work after all. All she had to do was get her biggest competition, Muffy, out of the picture. Cindy got her break in the music business because her father was a roadie. He taught her everything he knew about electronic systems, which gave her the tools she needed to execute this plan. Being Poison's girlfriend, it was easy for her to rewire his headphones while he was passed out from partying. She then waited for him to wear them and turn them on, but to her horror, Johnny did so first. As for Muffy, she was stabbed with the nearest knife, a knife that anyone could have had access to. The murder of Muffy was impulsive and uncalculated as it was a last-minute change of plans. For Muffy, she grabbed the nearest knife and stabbed her when no one was looking. Thanks for listening to this audio summary of Totally 80's, Totally Murder. We hope it helped you get all the details, motivations, and characters firmly in mind for this spoon-gaggingly awesome murder mystery. This has been Michael with the Murder Mystery Company. Rock 'em dead, detectives.